More algebra. For whatever reason, they've decided let's just do both of these at once. I mean, you're in 6th grade. Feels like we could have a whole day of multiplying, a whole day of dividing. Nevertheless, is what it is. We did adding. We realized we needed a lot of subtracting. We did subtracting and realized we needed a lot of adding. We'll see lots of multiplying. Number 1's a multiplying. Number 2 is a multiplying. 3 is a multiplying. Number 4, 5, and 6 are division. So when we see our multiplying ones here, like 1, 2, and 3, what do you think the name of the game is going to actually be about? We're going to be dividing. Number 1 says 38x equals 760. Yeah. I would like to start minimizing this conversation, but one more time, this is a multiplication statement here. 35 times a number. In this case, they're just calling it x. But it's 38 times a number. In this case, x. What is x? So multiplication is generally represented this way. In algebra, just the most efficient, clean way to represent it. Okay, so what I'm saying is somewhere in the world there is a number that exists that when I multiply it by 38, I get a quotient of 760. What is that number? So what am I doing to x? Multiplying it by 38. What is the opposite of multiplying by 38? Dividing by 38. So I write it like this, and we again talked a lot this year that a lot of division will look in fraction form, like this, like this, like that. This form is on its final breaths at this moment for us here. There's not a whole lot of this left here. Gasping for air, and soon we'll kill it all together. So get used to this. Huh?
What you just said.
Yeah, well, we're moving on. But how does this work? We talked about with the adding and subtracting, I would add and subtract its opposite. I would get something that would be plus or minus 0. Then we talked about adding or subtracting 0 from something that doesn't actually change its value, right? So when we're multiplying and dividing, anything divided by itself is what?
0.
No.
Or
1. 38 divided by 38 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 6 divided, right? So basically I have a 1 times an x here. But I don't generally write the 1 here because, like, I don't need to write 1p here. It's just, anything times 1 is itself. So anything divided by itself is 1, but anything times 1 is itself. So therefore, I have successfully canceled out that 38 part there. And I just have an x remaining. If you want to write 1x, then write 1x. And this leads us here to our division problem. Any fraction is a representation of a division problem. But now we got to set it up. So now the $1 million question is, what goes where? Does that go there? Or does it go that way? Number 1 or number 2? Number 2 is the correct answer. Number 2 is correct. So then we work the division problem. Again, they won't be complex division problems like earlier this year. They may have a little bit of time, but the objective is not long remainders and stuff. These will all terminate, okay? You're not going to have any remainders. And in fact, let's see, yeah, you'll have a few decimals, but they will all terminate. There's no repeating decimal, there's no remainder something or another. They all end, okay? Try number 2. And then try number 3. When it comes to you. So you guys try 2 and 3. Your division, you'll need to use your rules when dividing with decimals. that we covered last chapter.
Our brains are shrinking. Our brains are stinking.
Well, 6, 7 going on.
Guys, is number 3 hard? No. I don't think so. Yes.
What's in between? Right. 266,000.
You accurate Noah size. Cough, cough.
Whoa.
5.
Yes. No, you don't know what we're talking about.
Red dot is closer to that way or
Said
that?
no.
No.
Because
Because we're talking about the sizes.
of thumbtacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how mine is the size of a
Round it to the nearest thousand, so closer to that number or that number?
Mine's mine's size of a tarantula.
266,000.
Thank you very much.
You did all the work.
What? This school my mom doesn't love me this.
School my mom. Baby.
I can show you how to do it. Okay, you guys, let's do it. I don't necessarily need you to walk me through the whole division problem step by step. If you get the right answer, I can kind of conclude that you probably set up your division problem right. Number 2, Stella. So what do I got to do here first?
So you divide both the numbers by 1 and 7/10, and then the first one crosses out. And then you gotta write that. But then you gotta move the decimal so it's 17 and then 255.
Yep.
And then the answer to that is 15.
15 is correct. So I need to move the decimals one spot on both because I can never ever have a decimal in my divisor here. Ever, 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 ever. I can have a decimal in the dividend. Over here, that doesn't matter at all. It locks in place. I just keep dividing around that decimal, but I can never have a decimal here. So first step to solve, once it's time to solve, is I need to move the decimal. Basically, I'm solving this problem right there, because now the decimal's over there, that decimal's now over there. They both just moved one spot to the right. So that's where they are. Now I can go ahead and just solve the problem like normal. Number 3. Walk me through it, George.
Oh no, I'm not done.
George is working it out here.
It's not as hard as you think, George.
I'm still on number 2 because I mixed up the number.
Well, we'll put George back in the cup.
Thank you.
In the interest of moving this on. Noah.
Okay, so it goes 8 on the outside of the house, and then then the big decimal.
Yep. And of course this one.
So it goes into 0, 0 times.
Yep, what's the answer?
Oh.
302 10,000ths. Because this one, again, an X won't work when I'm working after the decimal. Every place value matters. I got to have something in all four of these. But 8 doesn't go into 2, 0, 2 minus 0, 8 first non-zeros in the hundredths column over there. So 302 10,000ths would be the correct answer there for that one. Good job setting up the division bar there. Everything's in the right order. Again, the division problems won't be crushingly difficult. Need help?
Yeah, after when you're done.
Okay. So let's look at number 4. It says Z divided by 13 equals 650. These first three were multiplying equations. We solved all three of them using division. We undid some sort of multiplication. I undid multiplying times 38. I undid multiplying by 1 7/10. I undid multiplying by 8 by dividing each of those numbers. So now I'm dividing. This could look exactly, if they wrote it this way, these is the exact same equation. And again, I point this out because we know we see some this way here before long. So simple, how do I write it and represent it here? A lot of times this is the form you'll see them in, but this is what happens. What am I doing to Z? I am dividing it by 13. What is the opposite of that? Multiplying by 13. So this is how I do it. I use my brackets. You see how I put brackets on both sides and I multiply basically everything by 13. I kind of write it like an exponent, but I do it that way because again, this is a weird form. Essentially 13 divided by 13 is 1, though, right? Anything divided by 1 is itself, so that cancels out. So now I just have the Z, then on the other side I have this multiplying problem. 650 times 13 should get 8,450. And that is the correct answer. Easy to check. If I plug it back in, I won't work it, but this is basically it. When I work that, hopefully I get 650 as my answer to that division problem right there. A number. In this case, it's 8,450 divided by 13 equals 650. What is that number? Where did I start? But this is a better one to look at just in the sense that going forward pretty quick, this is how it'll be. But when this is the cross simplify right here. See how I did that? 13, in a sense, I could write it this way. 13 over 1. It's like two fractions, and I cross simplified. Right? I just cross-simplified the 13s out. 13 over 1 times Z over 13 just gives me Z over 1, and anything divided by 1 is itself. And it's just doing the process there to finish it. All right. You guys try 5 and 6, then I'm going to go visit you. And then, one more thing I have to show you. So try 5 and 6. Solving division problems. What's T? What's F?
Sorry, library lady.
I think you
It's a song. Clash Royale song. Clash Royale, you guys are the best.
Ways of looking at things.
But, so watch this. So you bring it to but it goes right there. What we do on purpose, a lot of times we come up here,
Yeah.
right?
You really got me there.
But this is that same one right here, but I know you go a lot of times up here too, because it's wrong two here.
Gotcha, code.
But they're still carrying it, but they're only gonna carry it to there instead of all the way back. Now you can keep that, that's one plus four.
Plus 1, 6.
From the pen contract. Hear me out. What?
It's
Oh, you know where your sister is. Oh, you said you know. Not very well. Ew. That's why I quit ADHD to use meds.
I was filming videos and my ADHD kicked in.
I was just, I tried to sleep, but then my ADHD kicks.
Oh,
Kitchen's been.
It's like, once you do sleep, how it
First thing you're gonna have to do is the subtraction problem.
Yeah. I saw it on this and I
See if you can solve that.
My feet off. My feet is off.
yeah,
Beads.
because turtles,
Okay.
dogs, cows, they all eat them.
Number 5, Roland.
Numero 5. Let's see.
So what do I need to do?
so so 7. So it's 7 and 5/10 times 18 and 4.
Need to multiply both of these sides by 7 and 5/10. So that's what cancels out. And then multiply 18 and 4/10 times 7 and 5/10. Answer is
Okay. 145.
nope. Ella,
1,380.
decimal placement
148.
148.
Yeah.
No, Stella
138.
138.
Wow, so fast in my math. I just
I didn't realize 18 and 4/10 times 7 and 5/10 would stumble so many of you.
Oh,
184 times 75.
we all have our flaws.
Mr.
That is true.
Should I be done?
Sure. So you would end up, I guess, with 13,800, and then 1 decimal, 2 decimals, grand spot 2. So 13,800, move it 2 spots to the left, turns into 138. In the end, you moved it 1 spot. You multiplied wrong. Roland multiplied wrong. Added wrong. Right. Okay, number 6. Ella.
Yay, this is what I wanted. Okay, so you're gonna multiply 6 and 6/10 from both of them.
Multiply both sides by 22 and 3/10, actually,
Yeah, sorry.
because that's what I want to get rid of.
So then 22 and 3/10 times 6 and 6/10. Should I just see the answer?
Yep,
147 and 1,800.
that is correct. Nice work, Ella. So multiplied correctly, place the decimal where it needs to go correctly. That is good. Last thing, we need to be aware of this. They only have 1 here in the book. So I'll show you the 1 and maybe I'll make one up for you.
You write it out.
I would. 14. So this one is different. And it's different in the sense that all the other ones here, whether if I rewrote them these or this, the variable was always on the top. This is similar to the when you see us subtract the variable situation, like back here with our subtract work. When we run into that situation right there, we need to have a moment of pause. Go, wait. So when we see this, this is once again a moment of pause moment. If I try and multiply these together, I get like 1,000. I don't know what I get, something like that. But that would basically be 12 over 100. That would be a really small number, not the right answer at all. So 128 divided by some number gives me an answer of 8. What did I divide it by? So for this one here, just like subtract, the variable, when it's in this spot, is not accessible to us, is what the problem is. I can't do anything. I can't undo anything with the variable in this spot here. I can't undo what I'm dividing by. If that makes sense. So the bottom line is I need to move it somewhere else to solve this equation, and I can do that by multiplying both sides by the variable. Because anything divided by itself, doesn't matter what the variable is. If n is 5, 5 divided by 5 is 1. If n is 30, 30 divided by 30 is 1. We already talked about anything times or divided by 1 is already itself. So that has canceled out. And my new equation is 8n. Now I can go ahead and bring this thing home here. So when the variable's in this bottom position here, I have to move it to this side here because now I know what to do. What am I doing to n? Multiplying it by 8. How do I undo that? Divide both sides by 8. Ultimately, there's what you're solving. N is 16. 128 divided by 16. 16 divided by 128 is 8. So when the variable, and again, you will see this scenario again in your homework. Maybe somewhere. I don't see it off the top of my head. I'll make up one real fast and then we're out of here. Let's see here. There, solve it. Algebraically, though. Solve it algebraically, which means rewrite the equation and then solve the equation. Again, you should already know the answer. It's about 8 divided by what number equals 2. So can you set it up and solve it algebraically? So my hope would be you'd go up, variable in the bottom, of course variable in the bottom. That's what we're talking about at this precise moment. Why wouldn't it be on the bottom? I should multiply both sides by that. What I would hope, if I said solve it algebraically, is this is what this is. If I don't see that, well then you just solved it however you wanted. If you got 4, that's not algebraically. Because now, algebraically, I need to undo something. I need to solve for something. I need to do a real order of operation here. And there it is. So this is the algebraic way to solve that. Okay. It's a little weird. I get it. It's subtracting the variable and the variable on the bottom of a division. And two little loopholes in our perfect little world of algebra here. There will be more loopholes before it's all said and done. Oh yes, many loopholes. Okay.